Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to where I'm kind of rebranding it. I think we're calling it Pillow Talk, thanks to this brilliant woman named Montana, who's just like, you need a different name. And the obvious name is Pillow Talk. And that makes sense to me because honestly, I love Doris Day and Rock Hudson, and that was a great movie. But right now, we are talking pillows, but a pillowcase is what Tausi is. And I want to tell you all about what makes me comfortable with Tausi. And I want to show it to you. We've got a video here that you can see a little bit about Tausi while I talk about it. So maybe we can show this. Tausi is a pillowcase that you put your own favorite pillow into it or not. And you can have comfortable head, neck, or back support. This is Tausi horizontal, but it also comes in Tausi vertical, which you can see right here where she's enjoying Tausi while reading a book in bed. No fussing with pillows to get yourself comfortable. And it's so beautiful and luxurious. You can have it in your living room, leave it out all the time that you want and be comfortable. I use it on my office chair like this gentleman's doing. It makes it far more comfortable and you get that back support so you can work more efficiently and not be uncomfortable while working. Straps to a lounge chair comes in 4 gorgeous colors, super soft touch. It's not just for older people. Young kids love it while working. And the U-shaped foam insert, which is right over my shoulder right there, pops out. You wipe that down and you can throw the whole product into the wash. And I have one right here next to me. This is in the marine color. This is in my horizontal. And I'll just show you how to use it. It goes right behind your head and neck for wonderful head and neck support. Hits your occipital nerves, so it releases stress. And who's not getting stressed during this last few weeks of the year? And also, I use it on my office chair. And every Tausi comes with a mini bonus pillow that you can use this to roll up, put that behind your head if you're using it for lumbar support, or you can have a different experience with Tausi behind your back. And right now, I'm going to tuck it back behind me, and I want to introduce you to a guest we have today. My guest is a fellow entrepreneur, and I have to say, I love talking to entrepreneurs because they get it. They get the slog, they get the challenges of starting a new business. And Candy Fitzpatrick with Rest Angles is with us today. Candy, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Janice. Super
Oh,
excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. Tell you and I'm going to give the audience a little background about what we're doing, but you and I are working together on a trade show that we're going to with the Travel Goods Association in March, and we'll be in Vegas together. We're actually going to have our booths next to each other because we have complementary products. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you came up with Rest Angles. Just tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh, okay. Well, I started Rest Angles because I used to work in Antarctica and I live in Alaska. So I was flying across the Pacific Ocean for hours and hours and hours on end. And I'd get off the plane in Auckland, New Zealand, pretty much not able to walk because my legs would dangle because I'm a shorter person. And it was really hard to get comfortable in the airline seats, no matter what I did. And so the next time I did that long trip, and I travel a lot, I brought along a cardboard box to use as a footrest so that my feet could be raised to a more comfortable level and my feet and legs weren't dangling anymore. And then over the years, I tried different products. There are other footrests, portable footrests out there. I think there's room for all of us in this space. We have different purposes. There's different uses for all of them, but they weren't for me. So I eventually created my own, and that morphed into a prototype that weighed 2.5 pounds, which is not very travel friendly, but I needed it so much that I brought it with me no matter where I went. And so it was traveling, but also sitting in classes and restaurants and movie theaters everywhere that you sit. And I did a little research on why it was so painful to sit as a short person. And it turns out that the distance between the bottom of your foot to the area behind your knees is called, when you're sitting, is called popliteal height. And so if that distance is the average is 15 to 19.9 inches. So if that distance is shorter than the average chair seat height, which is 17 to 19 inches, there's a lot of room for a gap and a lot of dangling happening there. Or even just if you aren't experiencing dangling legs, you can still have the pressure on the back of your knees, and it
Oh
feels
my,
like your kneecaps are going to pop off or something.
oh my goodness.
So yeah. So you can
That is
actually be a tall person and have a shorter popliteal height and still benefit from using a rest angles or a portable
popliteal height.
footrest. In
I think we're
yeah,
all going
yeah,
to learn
yeah.
something new. I just want to give a shout out to Cassie's in the audience and says she loves the show. Thank you so much, Cassie. I really appreciate you being here. And I see Pat and James they're here and they're saying hello to you. Perfidial. How do you say this word again? Perfidial ankle?
Popliteal, popliteal height. Yeah,
Popliteal height. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're
popliteal
learning
height.
something new here. We want to be comfortable. And everybody who is in the audience, um, if you have traveled before, just give a thumbs up on a flight where you're trying to be comfortable on a long flight, and it's really, really challenging. I'm going to say that's why I take my Tausi with me on board a plane, because I can strap my Tausi to the headrest. So I've got the head and neck support on a flight. But could you imagine a Tausi with the rest angles? You would just come off the flight like dancing and singing because you're so comfortable.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
those airline seats, I'm not sure who exactly they're made for, but it's not for us.
no. How tall are
So,
you?
I'm 4'11" and a half. How tall are you?
I'm 5'3 3/4. And you know what? When you're short like us, those little extra like quarter of an inch, half an inch, or 3/4 of an inch mean a lot.
They do.
We claim them. So
Yes, we do.
what were you doing in New Zealand?
I was
I mean,
on
not
my
New
way to
Zealand, sorry,
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Yeah. So I worked there for 10 years, and over the course of those 10 years, I had 3 different jobs. The first one was in a place called MACOPS, which is radio communications with the South Pole Station and the outlying smaller research stations and field groups and stuff like that. Super fun. And then the second and third year I was there, I was the assistant supervisor of helicopter operations. And that was what my background is in aviation. And that was the most fun job I've ever had. It was really awesome. And then for the 7 years after that, I did helicopter flight following in the Air Traffic Control Center. It's called MAC Center. Though I'm not an air traffic controller, for those that know the difference. So I did that, and it was awesome, really fun, great place to work. If anyone gets a chance, put Antarctica on your list to spend. You can do different contracts down there, but 5 months is about the average. So I
Oh
highly
my
recommend
goodness.
it. Super fun, very creative community, lots of live music, and you wouldn't believe the classes people put on. It's just wonderful down there.
I
It's
love
awesome.
that we have Sia in the audience is saying, "Oh my God, Antarctica, hella cool." I love that. It's so true. You know what? I have to say, when you build community where you are, my husband right now is on a base in outside of London, and he was telling me about like how everybody gets together and you just create a family when you're separated from your loved ones and your sense of community. Now, when you invented rest angles, let's go back. Let's show everybody what it is. You have one with you, correct?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah. So this is the rest angles we have now. This is like model O, so 15 or 16, lots of iterations of this. It only weighs 12 and 5/8 ounces now, which is a big difference than my 2.5 pound prototype B. So, so it folds flat like this, and you can put it together you can use it in wedged in 2 different ways. So in wedge, if you put your feet here, you're stretching the back of your legs when you need to. And if you turn it around like this and you put your feet here, then you stretch the front of your legs, which
Oh, wow.
feels really great when you're walking around airports all the time, all day. And then you just put it together like that. And this is 4 inches. So you would put your feet on the edges here, and this is how ergonomics works. So if you put your feet on the edges so that your feet are a little bit apart, your knees naturally fall a little to the side, which is better for your hips and your back when you're sitting. So think of your lazy boy chair, and you're kicking back and your legs are spread apart. And yeah, so ergonomics started basically because of astronauts and NASA and how is it most comfortable. Believe it or not, ergonomics is kind of related to space. So that's how you would use it in the 4-inch, and then you could switch it on its side like this for 7 inches. So if you do this and you put your feet here, then your knees are above your hips, which feels good for some people, especially on your lower back. So then when you're done, you just fold it back up. And it comes with this crossbody tote bag, which is made from rPET, which is recycled plastic bottles. It has a zipper pouch here and a zipper pouch here. So that comes with the unit. And then you're on your way. You could take it anywhere you want to go and sit comfortably pretty much anywhere, but especially traveling, but anywhere. Yeah.
I can see that going to a theater, on a plane. Sia is saying that she needs this. I've met Sia in person, and Sia is shorter than me, so she might be in your height
Yes.
somewhere, because we haven't yet to meet in person. But I think that what I love about your product, and also why it complements Tausi so well, is because you and I both are mindful of the fact, one, the environment. I love the recycled plastic bag, tote bag that it comes with, because, living up in Canada, in Alaska, and working in Antarctica, I'm certain that you're very mindful of our environment and what we're doing to it as human beings. But also the fact that you have multiple ways to use your product to be comfortable. Why was that important to you? Why did you not just do like one and done, like get it set for people who are, under 5 feet?
Well, again, it's more about the popliteal height than the actual height of the person, because you could be tall and still benefit from a footrest. I really wanted it to be more adjustable than it is. So to me, this is like the one that I'm starting out with. Because I'm a solo entrepreneur, and this is what I have for now. And there could be some improvements for more adjustability later. And it's that when you're sitting, you're not always sitting in one static position. You're always moving around. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't need a footrest, you're still always moving around. And so to sit statically is what is one of the causes of the pain when you're sitting. Ooh. So like if you sit cross-legged a lot, with rest angles, there's a lot of what they call dynamic movement in the center. So it moves with you. And if you're moving it towards you, it kind of can move towards you. If you put your feet in the center, it'll move with you, so that you're just moving around and it's moving with you. So you don't have to like pick it up and adjust it and move it over to like a different spot on the floor. If you're going to sit cross-legged, just put your feet in the center, and it's a little bouncy for you.
I love that. That's fun. That's very fun.
Yeah.
I love fun
and
things.
Also,
yeah,
I forgot to say that it has anti-static additive in it. So stuff on the floor isn't going to static cling to the plastic, which is a problem with plastic. So there's a special additive in there. So that won't happen.
That's so cool.
When I did my alpha and beta testing, that was one of the biggest things. They're like, the dog hair is sticking to it. So
that's so amazing. I love. Where can people buy this? Because you are on MARKET.live. You just haven't done your show.
I am on. Yeah, that's right. I do have a profile on MARKET.live, so that's one way to find us. And then restangles.com is another way. That's my biggest way to be found. And I'm hopefully going to have a grommet profile here pretty soon. And if you're in Alaska, we do some local markets, and we're going to have a pop-up booth during Christmas season at the Anchorage Airport Terminal in between Charlie 2 and Charlie 3 gates, in case you happen to be an Alaskan.
You are
And
such a
that
traveler. I make up like my letters. I'm like I as an ice cream. I make them all up as I go along. So C is
yeah,
Charlie.
yeah,
Okay. I say usually say
yeah.
cat.
See, it's Charlie.
Okay. Okay. I've
Cat
learned
too.
something
Cat too.
new here. Yeah. So what
So
I
I was
do,
in aviation for a long time.
yeah, you mentioned that. Now, what about having this under your desk? Like, do you see different applications for like? Because I, initially created my Tausi for my dad who was in a geriatric chair, and I saw just for seniors and people who are just, oh, Raquel is here. Hello, Raquel. Oh, Candy, you would need to meet Raquel. She's just a love. Thank you for coming. So I invented this for my dad, who was, in a geriatric chair, slumped over. That looked uncomfortable. And so now what I love about Tausi is it has so many applications, not just for seniors, but for my kid in college, for me at my office chair and being comfortable. And now you created something that is way fun because now it bounces with you. So you can enjoy that flexibility with it. You're ergonomically more comfortable. You're avoiding pain, which is like what Tausi does, avoid pain. Where can you bring your product with you? It's not obviously going to be just for the airplane.
That's right. Yeah. So I use it under my desk, like you said. And I haven't worked in an office in a while, but if I did and I had to go to like a conference room and someone's using my favorite chair, that the only one I can reach the ground or reach the
Oh, no.
floor with, then it could be a handy thing for that. I definitely use it at restaurants. Before I had rest angles, I knew which restaurants had chairs that were comfortable for me. I have a really hard time sitting on bar stools, so I avoid the restaurants with only bar stool seating.
Oh, wow.
And is that your cat there? Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. She likes to make an appearance when I
Oh, look
think
at her.
she's such a diva, but she definitely comes on
You can make a
onto
fortune.
appearances on my shows. Sorry.
So cute. And then movie theaters. I know that some of the newer movie theaters have the really cool seats that are almost like being in your living room. But I haven't
Yeah.
encountered many of
I
those.
would
I've
say
heard
yes.
that they
Hang on one
exist.
second. Sorry.
No, keep on going. I think we're hearing a little bit of background, but keep on going. So yeah, movie theaters, you can hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Movie theaters. If you're in classes, it's definitely when I was in college eons ago, they have the seats in the stadium seating thing and they
Yeah.
don't move. They're like just there and you got to deal with what's there. Perfect for that. So for college students, well, anywhere you want to sit, really. For me, the basic ones that I use the most are for restaurants and of course traveling. But oh my gosh, I was at the doctor's appointment the other day and it was my husband's doctor's appointment and I was just waiting and I didn't have long to wait, but it was like I sat there for 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna pull out my rest angle. So I had it with me. So basically anywhere. Yeah.
Have you ever used it in a car? Is that something that one could do?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So we have pickup trucks and they're not the large pickup trucks, but smaller pickup trucks and even larger ones. If I'm the passenger, I definitely use rest angles there. And a lot of people, when I was selling at the state fair in Alaska, in Palmer, a lot of people said, oh, I could use that for my truck. And so very, very popular one. And also you could use it in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a
portable
competition for squatty potty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I mean, they definitely have their brand and their stuff that works perfectly for that as well. But on the go, I think, yeah, on the
seriously.
go.
On the go for when you have to go. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, again, not being a single-use product. And that's really important in my values for my company and as I'm expanding my product line and what else can I do. But I feel as though we're always being asked to buy just one item for one use. Like with Tausi, head and neck support. back supports. My cats like it for their little beds. So it becomes, a family product that we leave out on the couch. And with you, you can take it, as you said, when you're traveling on an airplane. You can use it because, let's face it, we all sometimes need a little assistance when we're going into the restroom, and it's just like the right angle is important. And it's to have it while you're traveling in the car to go visit family for holidays. It's a time to not neglect your comfort for because then what happens is, a neuroscientist was telling me recently that when your brain cannot do two things at once, multitasking is not a thing. And when your brain is thinking about pain, it can't take on any other new information. So what you've done, Candy, and what I've done, we have created that the ability for our brains, we have a non-pharmaceutical intervention with our products, because now you're able to be comfortable. Pat says in the obstacle,
Excellent.
he asked the question, what was the hardest obstacle that you had to overcome to develop your invention, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I would say, do you want to answer that question first,
No,
Janice?
you go first.
Okay. I want to know what you have to say. For me, I love living in Alaska. It's wonderful. I've been here over 30 years now, but it is hard to get supplies and things that you're trying to create. It's not easy to just walk into any store you want to find this to make your prototype or this to make your prototype. But I was able to cobble together, starting out, I started with the Anchorage Makerspace, and I don't live in Anchorage. I live 2 hours away from there. So going there was a trip, 4 hours round trip, but they helped me a lot at the Anchorage Makerspace. And I don't think without them, it would have been a far rougher road. Every makerspace is different, of course, and the people that were there, two guys in particular who were super tall, way over 6'2", both of them, that helped me there. They understood what I needed to do, and I needed to start a business too, which is something I hadn't done before. So just starting out and finding the resources, being in a small community on the road system that I'm at, I would say that finding the resources to start was difficult, and it is always a problem finding the resources for shipping, finding the resources for just even getting the prototypes made, the different kinds. I was able to eventually find a fabrication shop for my first prototypes, and a CNC router, which was way up in Fairbanks. They were a wonderful engineering firm up there. So I did do all of this stuff up into injection mold. I couldn't do that in Alaska, but it took me, a couple years to get it going, and maybe I would have been able to go a little faster if I was somewhere other than Alaska. But I'm proud to have a lot of it started in Alaska, because it's not an easy thing to do. So,
and there's
thanks for the question.
not a lot of products that we know of that are from Alaska. I would think it'd be what you encountered, the limited or the challenging resources, or finding the right people in Alaska to do this. I when I lived in New York, I found it was like really easy if I just go down the street and you can get 12 different kinds of pizza or bagels, or it's like it was everywhere. And then as I moved away from New York, I wound up like learning how to make my own bagels, because I wasn't finding it as much. And I think you have to be scrappy when you're in more of a remote area to get what you need to get done. Really fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the slow pace was good for me, though, because it was a learning curve, and, I was always adding on more. Maybe it's the pace that I needed at the time. It just, in my head, I wanted to go faster, but everything happens for a reason, right? So the pace
Did you have
ended
people
up being the pace.
Sorry, did you have people trying out your products so you knew like this was a good idea and worth investing your money in?
Yeah, I did both what I call alpha and beta testing. You hear about beta testing, but so the alpha testing was mostly people that I knew, and then beta testing, I added some people that I didn't know, and there's different kinds of testers. The ones that give you the negative feedback are the ones that are very useful. It sometimes hurts a little bit, but that's the stuff you need to hear to make your product better. So I really valued all of my testers, especially the ones that really told me the truth, which is hard for someone that you know really well, maybe your best friend or your family members. So, and there was a few that were very good at saying this and this, and that's where the anti-static additive stuff came into play. And of course, I was noticing that as well. So I did do the alpha and beta testing. And I think some people probably skipped that part. How about you?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, Allison is here and she just said, that's amazing. And I agree. Candy, you're pretty resourceful and pretty amazing. I really enjoy learning about your product and Rest Angles. We can get it at www.restangles.com. My biggest challenge for me was getting it manufactured. That's been really, I wanted so badly to support women-owned manufacturing and keep it in the US. I'm finding that to be more challenging. That is a goal as I move forward. I'd like to continue that goal, but also then, you know, if I had unlimited resources, I could achieve that goal. But right now in America, I cannot. So I'm looking at manufacturing elsewhere, so I can grow. And that's, you know, starting out, being an entrepreneur is pretty tricky, and it's not for the faint of heart. I'm just going to say, as we lift up our products together, I appreciate doing this with you.
Likewise. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about our next endeavor. We are scheming. We have something coming up. Hope you see, this is Belliot behind me in Las Vegas in March.
Yep.
At the Travel Goods Show. We're sharing our booths are side by side and what we're doing. So if anybody out there wants to help us, we are looking to secure 3 airline seats. What are we going to do with
a
those?
row of airlines. Yeah.
What are we doing?
So our booths are going to be next to each other. Normally there'd be some kind of a stanchion in between. So we're going to have that removed so that we're going to have a row of airline seats that span in between our 2 booths, so that she can set up Tausi on one side, and I can set up Rest Angles on the other side, and people can sit and try out the products. And of course, it's buyers that are going to be at this and influencers. So when they stop by, they can have total comfort in the airline seats. Total comfort. And so they could try it out.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. We just want people to be comfortable and to be able to recognize the fact that they can take a product, like here's my Tausi vertical. And this one I put on a plane. This goes, I don't stuff it with a pillow, but what I like about having the back clean is when, Candy, you were telling me when you bought some airline seats that you pulled them apart and you cleaned them. And I was like, do not tell me what you found in the seeds, because you alluded to the fact that it was really disgusting. So we'll spare everybody that tale, but with Tausi, at least you know your back is going to be completely clean and covered. So and also you want your head covered. Honestly, who wants to have somebody else's stuff, whatever it was, around your head?
Yes.
It's gross. It's gross. So we are at the top of our show. I want you to share again where we can find you, what your name is, and when you're opening up your MARKET.live on your show here.
My show idea is Polar Opposites, and I want to have people on from Alaska entrepreneurs and people who have worked in Antarctica. That's the show that I envision, and hopefully I'm going to launch that soon, but probably not until the new year. So, because I have a lot going on, but that will be coming. And you can buy Rest Angles at restangles.com. And I do have my product here on MARKET.live, so you can find us that way. And I'm Candy, and my company is Rest Angles. And thank you so much, Janice, for having me on your show. It was super fun. Always fun to talk to you. You're just wonderful.
Oh, I appreciate you, Candy. You've been very welcoming when I was a newbie in the entrepreneurial group with Marcy McKenna and learning all about MARKET.live. That's where we met, and on Inventor Live group that Marcy has. So it's really fun. I appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you, Raquel and Pat and James and Sia and Allison and Cassie. I appreciate you guys for joining us, and anybody else who I've missed in the audience. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to be live multiple times during the week, so you'll be able to catch us. And I think we're going to be rebranding us and calling ourselves Pillow Talk, because and we'll talk about things that we think about at night. And as entrepreneurs, we think about a lot of things at night. But right now, I'm going to rest easy with my rest angles and my Tausi. Thank you, everybody.